We can touch on Deebo Samuel. So the rumors are, well, they're not rumors. It's confirmed that Deebo Samuel has requested a trade from the 49ers, and there was a few Twitter speculation, fake, real reports, we don't know, that said the Bears are interested. And, I don't think Deebo Samuel's at a point in his career where he's worth a first rounder. He's a younger player, but he hasn't proven to me that he's worth a first rounder. I think if you packaged a 3 and a 5 and maybe a 2.
You don't think Deebo Samuel's worth a first round pick?
No, I don't think Deebo Samuel.
He's an all-pro receiver, Kevin.
Yeah, he's an all-pro receiver who's done it for 1 year. He hasn't done it for a long period of time. He's a younger receiver who hasn't done it consistently. If you're looking at a player who is deserving of a first-round pick, that has to be a bona fide blue-chip player who's done it at least 3 years in a row.
So let's look at it this way. Let's do it this way. Of the receivers that are all asking for extensions, so that gives us Deebo, DK Metcalf, and Terry McLaurin. Are any of them
worth AJ Brown?
And AJ Brown. Are any of them worth a first-round pick?
I think DK Metcalf's the only one.
Really?
I think DK Metcalf has the ability to be the best receiver and a top 5 receiver in the NFL.
You don't think AJ Brown's worth a first round pick?
I don't think AJ Brown's worth a first round pick. I mean, if you have to it's rare, Jake. It's rare you'll see a player like that, especially a receiver, be worth a first round pick in a trade. Now, the interesting thing is
there's no precedent for it.
Exactly. That's what's interesting is this whole idea of trading all the AJ Brown wants out, Deebo Samuel wants out. Players don't get traded in the third year of their contract. It rarely happens. A player as good as those players, which is why we're sort of now we don't really know. There's no precedent. We don't know what.
No, they're in the 4th year. No, that's why this upcoming 4th year because they're in the final year and they want an extension.
Right, but still, a player. Let's put it this way: a player on the rookie deal as good as those players have been at that position. You don't see that a lot, which is why I don't think a team is going to sit there and be like, look, we're going to give you a first rounder when we can maybe draft our own wide receiver in the first round, who's going to be on a smaller deal. And that's why I think they're not worth a first rounder is, look, you're going to get a rookie receiver on a first round, on a rookie deal if you're not trading away that first round pick. But if you are trading away that first round pick to get an AJ Brown or Deebo Samuel, you get AJ Brown and Deebo Samuel, who are first round talents, but you also bring with them $80 million contracts, at least. You want to know why? Because Christian Kirk from the Jacksonville Jaguars destroyed the whole market for wide receivers, and a number of them did. But Christian Kirk, and I think we talked about that on this show one time after that. We're like, yo, I'm glad the Bears didn't pay Christian Kirk 4 years, $75 million. That's why you have Deebo Samuel and AJ Brown sitting here saying, look, you're going to give Christian Kirk, $18 million a year. I deserve $25 million a year.
Yeah, right.
The market
if
is
not
skewed.
More.
So that's why, Deebo Samuel is a great player. I don't want them to trade for him because you get him, who's an all-pro receiver, but you also got to pay the guy
and arguably running back.
And arguably running back. So he's a great asset to have. I don't want to trade for him. I don't want to give up assets and pay him the $80 million when I think you could find a player very talented, multiple of them in the second and third rounds, and maybe even a first round next year if that's what they're asking for. So that's
would you, if you're the Bears, would you trade for any of these guys?
I wouldn't right now. And again, no, I wouldn't. I mean, they're not in a position to do it. I mean, we know what the Bears are looking to do right now. And then next year you're spending all the money. It doesn't align with the outlook right now. And that's, in my opinion, I'm not sitting here thinking, we immediately need to trade for, if we had no pick until a third round, or we had fewer picks. We didn't have the 2 second round. If we didn't have 2 second round picks, we only had 1. Things would change. I think they can find some really talented first round talent in the second round at wide receiver that makes me more content with their situation instead of saying, "Hey, we have nothing. Let's just give it all away for Deebo Samuel." So where are you at with that?
Well, see, the first problem with this is that the Bears don't have a first round pick. But again,
I don't think he's gonna go. I don't think they're gonna go for it. But
somebody, if you're somebody with if you're Miami with 1 million first round picks, or if you're Philadelphia with 1 million first round picks over the next 3 years, you're not going to give up one of those for Deebo Samuel.
No, I can get Chris Olave for 4 years, who could be just as good.
If you're Philadelphia, think of all the first round picks they have. They have 2 this year, 2 next year. I think 2 the year after that.
Well, Philly just sucks at drafting in the first round. So
I agree. I agree. But I mean, if you're Philly and you could get Chris Olave and Deebo Samuel, especially if you don't think Jalen Hurts is the guy who can do all of it on his own, you're making that trade for sure. Even Miami has a bunch of picks too. If you compare Tyreek with Deebo and Tua, I mean, it's a cakewalk. Especially because Tua can't throw more than 10 yards down the field. So you need someone like Deebo who can take it out of the slot or the backfield and break something open for you. And again, I mean, this is getting off topic because, the Bears aren't going to have the assets to even pull off something like this.
That's not true, though. That's why I'm telling you it's not. I don't want them to do it, but I'm telling you that's not true.
See, I just don't think, not even that the Bears don't have a first-round pick, it's just you don't have picks. Like, we've talked about this for how many weeks? The Bears just don't have picks.
A lot of picks, right. Volume.
The Bears, Ryan Poles is not in a position to send San Francisco 2 to 3 picks in varying rounds, in varying years even, just to get Deebo Samuel. Because let's face it, you're staring down the barrel of a rebuild right now. So if you're Ryan Poles, you need to get more. Because if you're Ryan Poles, look at what Ryan Pace's idea of, okay, we're going to trade these picks, kick the can down the road. Look where that got you. That got you hired. That got your predecessor fired and you hired. So if I'm Ryan Poles, I'm thinking, okay, I want to hang on to these picks. I want to get more if I can, because I got to get as many shots at this as possible. I have the quarterback, and now I need everything else.
Yeah. And and for that reason, they're not trading for Deebo Samuel. I mean, that's where I stand. It's just
you know what? You know how this ends?
How does
I hate this.
What?
This ends with the Vikings getting Deebo.